What's up, Haunt Seekers? It's Casey here.
And Michael.
And today we are reviewing the Evil Intentions Haunted House in Elgin, Illinois.
So, Evil Intentions is located at 900 Grace Street in Elgin, Illinois. You'll know you're there when you see the old, decrepit factory building looking thing that's kind of there. It's in a very odd location, but you'll know it when you see it. Evil Intentions Haunted House is inside of that abandoned Casket Company building. And so, Evil Intentions is located at 900 Grace Street in Elgin, Illinois. It's kind of in sort of a street that's kind of back behind some buildings, and you'll know you're there when you see the giant sign and the lit up facade of the building. In the daytime, it's kind of hard to spot though, but it is an abandoned looking old factory building that we'll go into more detail with later. The Evil Intentions Haunted House is located inside the building and has won numerous awards, including those from review teams such as Haunted House Chicago, whose #1 pick was Evil Intentions in 2017, and it reached its #2 spot in 2018. The Scare Factor review team reviewed it as #1 haunted house in 2019. And Haunted Illinois reviewed it as their #1 choice for 2017 and the 2018 haunt season. So similar to 13th Floor, Evil Intentions has a lot of the same COVID procedures for 2020, obviously with the current pandemic that we're handling. But Evil Intentions has taken steps to make the experience as fun, safe, and scary as possible. So just a few of these requirements are requiring face masks for guests and the staff. So under their actor masks or their scare masks, they do have actual masks, like medical masks. That's a lot of masks. They also require temperature screening for all staff before they enter for the day and guests before they enter for the haunt. Social distancing is enforced, and there are a few scenes, spoiler alert, where they do split up your group a bit, so there's even more social distancing. But they do limit the group size. I think it's like 8 or something, or 6. Not sure exactly what it is. But you won't be placed with other groups, and you'll just be with the people you came with. There are also hand sanitizer stations on site for your convenience, and reservations are required for ticketing. So get your tickets beforehand and make sure that you have a time slot.
So after they check your tickets, they will gather your group and they will send you down. You enter the building, so you're going to enter the Casket Company, and then you walk down to the queue. Now let me just say, the queue hypes you up. It just is intense.
It's so good.
Intense music playing, lights flickering, and there's at least maybe 7, 8 scare actors in there. There was so many, and they have cages separating it, and so there would be scare actors climbing on top of you, and then they will be all around you, literally everywhere. So
yeah.
You cannot escape them. There is no way to escape them. And in between the switchbacks for the queue, they had little stages so that the scare actors could walk on there.
Yeah, and they did little stuff where they would stop on one of the platforms and interact with guests, and it was pretty funny. They had one of those conveyors that you'd find at an airport, where your bags roll through.
Yeah.
And they were coffins, and some of the scare actors would pop out of the coffins.
And they would even ride down on the
the
little rollers. And they will take selfies. So if you're a selfie type of person with the scare actors, they will do selfies there. So if you want your selfie, you can get your selfie. But the queue, hands down, was amazing. They had more scare actors in there than they did at the entire house of 13th Floor.
I'm sorry, 13th Floor, but the queue of Evil Intentions was way more impressive.
Yes.
But I mean, I think it's just an intensity factor. 13th Floor is meant to be cinematic because they had those massive sets.
Yes.
Whereas Evil Intentions you're inside the set.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
we'll get onto the sets later.
Yes. So when you we had to wait about 20 minutes in the queue, and you cannot take bags. You can put stuff in your pockets. You just cannot take bags. So if you take a bag, they will keep it at like the person that checks your tickets or whatever before you even enter the queue. So make sure that you do not have a bag. And then once you get to the end of the queue, they have 4 entrances. There's 4 coffins, and they're in the shape of a coffin, like just the whole thing that you go into.
Yeah.
And you don't get to choose your row, but let you go in, and
that's where the first pre-show is.
yeah, one of the 4 coffins, and that's the first pre-show. And
there's more pre-shows than that.
There's more pre-shows. And it's a pretty tight space. So if
they shove you in a coffin.
If you're claustrophobic, I don't think you're gonna like it because you're not
gonna make it past that first pre-show.
You're stuck in there for at least 3 minutes, literally.
And the cool thing about the pre-show is, I don't know if I could hear it well, but they did tell you some history about like you're taking a tour of the old casket company, and that's kind of the theme. What's weird is that like you can't pull on the door, so there's no way of escaping. And what's weird is that when you go in there, it suddenly gets quiet. Like they're blasting the music in the queue, and you can't. I don't remember hearing the music in the pre-show. I didn't hear it either. It was so weird, and it was just one like sheet of plywood, so it's weird not hearing it. But then there's a scare actor, not really a scare actor, but like they pop up next to you, and they tell you some stuff.
And they tell you like, oh, you're here on the tour, and then eventually they exit their side, and they shake in the door and eventually get you out.
Yeah, so moving from there, you walk down a hall towards the second pre-show. And were there only 2? I think there were only 2.
Yeah, there was only 2. This was the second one.
So the second pre-show, after you exit your little coffin, you head down a hallway onto the real, authentic service elevator from the old casket company, which is such a cool touch.
It is. It's a real elevator. Now, disappointment, you don't actually go through the elevator.
Missed opportunity.
Yes.
But it was a cool pre-show.
So they have multiple characters in there. I could see one of the characters that's supposed to scare you later, that's supposed to appear just magically. But like there's like, it looks like there's sparks all over the place, and it's a great pre-show. And then eventually they let you go out, and then there might be you walk down a few more hallways, and then you go up the first flight of stairs.
And that is when you begin the actual haunted house. So once you've gone through, yes?
It's a beefy one. It's like 20 minutes long. It's a long one.
It's a big boy haunted house. Well, actually, this might sound surprising, but we timed it at like 20 to 25 minutes. I don't think it felt that long afterward.
No. Okay, so like when you're going through it, it doesn't feel that long. But then when you look back and you recall, you realize
there's so many scenes.
There's just so many, and you just realize, oh, that was long. Just in the moment.
Yeah.
It was short. I feel like all haunted house feels that way.
But it is a long one, and they pack a lot of different scenes in. Not just from inside the casket company, even though all of it's indoors. There's a few parts where it looks like you're outdoors. There's a huge house facade right in the middle of it, which was so cool.
It feels like you're in a swamp, and you're
just a swamp too.
It's like you're on a bridge for at least a 1,000-foot bridge.
It's like a minute or so of the experience, but it feels longer when you're in it.
You're just walking on it for a while.
I'd like to say that the hooded figure strobe rooms were really cool, because it's a series of like 5 or so rooms.
They just keep going.
they just keep going, and it's like hundreds and hundreds of hooded figures and you don't know which ones are real. And spoiler alert, some of them are. And it's a super cool illusion because it's a slow strobe, but it's consistent, so it makes you feel like all of them can jump out at any second, even though there's only a few scare actors in there, and by a few I mean like a solid 15.
And of course they make you weave in and out of literally every single dummy there is, so like it's just takes forever to get through those rooms.
And it's such a cool scene. I love it.
And it feels very secluded from the rest of the house, like you're in your own separate warehouse almost.
Because the ceiling gets a little lower.
Yeah, the ceiling's very low in that room.
All right. Scene for you.
All right. One of the scenes that stood out for me, I have to think. Okay, we're gonna save the best one for last, which is
And I
the
think I know
last
what we're
scene,
talking
the
about.
finale.
Yeah.
So I think one that was kind of just a hallway was the white, like almost like church hallway type thing. It was like a hall that was really nice, and it was like all white. It just was like
Oh, the White Room.
the lighting was really cool in it.
And it's a cool
Yes.
effect because
hmm
there's just one scare actor in front of you, and you can see him plain as day.
Yeah.
But the trick to the room is you don't know what he's gonna do, so it's like
Yeah.
anticipation.
And it's such a long hallway. And
Yeah.
he's all the way at the other end of the hallway, so you're just waiting till
And you're
you
like,
get to
oh
him.
man.
hmm
Because I think going through there, you heard me as soon as we entered the room. I'm like, oh yeah, we're screwed no matter what. I
Yeah.
literally said that.
hmm
All right. Another scene that I liked, and it's not really a scene; it's just an element. Um, the coffin tunnel maze.
Oh yes.
It's really neat. You enter a
hmm
room. I think it's closer to the end of the haunt.
Yeah.
And there's like I think it was two passageways at the start.
hmm
The passageways are shaped like coffins, and they're made
Yeah.
of like wood on the side, and it's a literal maze. I
hmm
think we chose the right path, so it kind
Yeah.
of spoiled it for us. But
Well,
they're
the other scare actor was saying we had to go that way, so I think it just depends on the route. Maybe they have like, because I know they do tricks to slow you down if you're getting close to the group in front of you, so they may have like a longer hallway or a shorter hallway
oh yeah,
depending on how close you are. Because they do that, like they will hold you.
they did that with the group behind us.
Yeah.
But it was such a cool element because there were some like cracks in the coffin's walls, and there was like foggy red light coming out.
Yeah.
It was
It
just a
was
really
cool. The
cool
lighting
scene.
effect was really cool.
hmm And I like how long it was too, because it's just like really compact, claustrophobic tunnels that just weave, and you don't know where you're going. Another scene I liked that isn't the finale, because we're going to talk about that one next. The doctor's room. Casey, do you have input on the doctor's room?
Okay. So the
Because
doctor's room,
that's where I was.
oh yes. It was almost like a dentist chair. They took Michael and they made him sit in a chair and like for at least I think that was one of the stalling elements.
hmm
And it was at least for like 5 minutes and he was just sitting there. We were in that
That might be
room.
a little bit of a stretch, but
it was it
it
was like
felt long.
it felt long. It felt long.
Because I was sitting down in like a dentist chair, and there was like the doctor or the dentist or whatever, and he was like talking all weird, creepy
hmm
stuff, and the other three in our group were just sitting on the side, and I was in the chair like, okay.
hmm
Um, but yeah, like Casey said, it's another one of those stall elements that's built into the haunt. So no matter what, you pass through the room. But if a group's moving too fast or too slow, they'll stop and do some cool interaction stuff with you.
Yes, and they also did that for Sam. They took him to a room and they closed the curtain, and a scare actor took him in there, and then there's another scare actor blocking our group from getting to him, so it was kind of funny.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know what happened in that room, but did he ever tell us?
Um, no, he just was swearing at you. I know that.
Oh yeah. Anyways,
All
final
right.
scene. Start us off with
Okay.
that, because that's the most impressive in my opinion, just
Final
because how
scene.
freaking huge it is.
It's like it's ginormous. I have to say, it was probably like there was at least like 20, 25 scare actors in there. It was like all surrounding you in cages coming like popping their heads down from the ceiling, pole dancing. I don't know. It was just crazy.
It was
And
the
it was like a
freaking coolest. It like what the scene makes you do is you're in a cage. You're in a cage with a ton of other cages, and there's just blaring heavy metal music
mhm,
and the strobe lights, and it's just every effect you could think of all going off at once. It's
I
like you're in
know.
the middle of a pyro show and like a heavy metal music video, and it's just intensity for the entire room. No
Mhm.
breaks. It's so cool.
I love it. It's
It,
hands down one of my favorite rooms in any haunted house.
it's
Any haunted.
probably my favorite
I just love it.
because
An honorable
it's
mention room though is the
uh huh.
classroom.
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, they had like a there was like a ritual going on in the classroom with the teacher.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah, and like the secretary or whatever in the school talked to us a little bit, so that was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. I did notice some of the characters did swear.
It was light. It
It
wasn't
was
like
not like,
swearing.
so like if you're sensitive to swearing, because I know some people are, which is, I don't know, it's weird. But if you don't like swearing at all, don't come to this house.
But it's not like a ton. Like, it'd be kind of dumb to get
Yeah.
into examples, but it's not super bad.
Yeah, no,
Like
it's fine.
PG-13 is a good rating for this haunted house.
Yes. And then let's get to like some overall like like some other moments that weren't scenes, like something that scare actors did.
All right. Well, like we mentioned before, I was put down in a dentist chair, which was pretty cool. But I already mentioned that. So, anything for you?
The limbo.
Oh, the limbo guy. He's probably my favorite actor in there.
Yeah, because he was like, wait, he was like, hold up. And then he put his foot up and we had the limbo under his foot. And then he was
Yeah.
like, he was telling like people, oh yeah, you're flexible.
Oh yeah, he said
You got
that
it.
too.
It was
Yeah,
great.
he's like,
So
oh
there
yeah,
was like,
you're flexible.
there was some weird vibes in there. It like went from totally insane, scary vibes to
Funny.
to like yeah, to kind of funny, and like there was some
And
humor in there, and then like
it
lighthearted.
it mixed comedy with
Mm-hmm.
intensity and creepiness and like in your face as well as like by yourself. And that's one of the best
Yeah.
things for me is they just mixed everything so well. And maybe if you're not scared of haunted houses, it sure will entertain you. Like it's just a fun experience from the queue line to the end.
I agree. I just love this house.
All right. Interactivity there, very high.
Very high, like
Extremely high.
like with the limbo thing,
Yeah,
obviously.
we talked about the limbo, the
Chair
doctor guy.
The pre-shows were
The
great.
pre-shows were awesome. Queue actors. As when you're driving up there, and there's a little going back to the queue line. There are scare actors on the street before you even get to the haunted house, and we saw them We saw them like chasing cars into the parking lot.
It was great.
And when you got out of the car, there were some in the lot.
Yeah, and if you do ask those characters that are outside, they will. I know I got a pin. He just walked up to me and gave me a pin, and then I think Sam got a bracelet.
Yeah, he got a slap band.
So if you ask them, they probably will give you some merch. So if you want, I would just ask them.
Or you can buy this awesome shirt right here. It's got the logo. It's got some text on it. Their merch is reasonably priced. This t-shirt was $20. I think all of them are. Yeah. They got some hoodies, and they've got more stuff in the gift shop too.
There was a ton of stuff. And
it's not even just a gift shop. They had a full-on art gallery.
And they sell the soundtrack there.
They sell the soundtrack, yeah.
And I have to say, there was no lack of fog in the house.
There was fog.
Yes, there was a lot of fog.
If you don't like fog, then, I mean, try to avoid it, especially in, like, the swamp area, but kind of expected. Yeah, gift shop experience.
It's really good.
Cool. They got a ton of photo ops, too. I think the thumbnail for our vlog, we're standing in front of an empty casket. That's one of the highlight photo ops there.
Another thing is, as well, it covers 3 floors.
It does.
And because it sits on a hill, at the exit, you only go down 1 flight of stairs. So, like, you'll enter and you go up 2 flight of stairs, but at the end, you'll only go down 1. And
it's a smaller one.
Yes. So that's why.
Just heads up if you can't navigate, like, stairs well or whatever. Maybe skip this one.
Yeah. It's not wheelchair friendly. I don't know if they had wheelchair accessible areas. I don't think they did.
Not for this one, I don't think.
Yeah.
Which is something they could use because this is an awesome place.
Yes.
That's
It would be great if they were able to get some elevators or ramps or something.
if the elevator functioned.
Yeah. I mean, when you're in this, when you go up to the next floor, you can see where the elevator is, and it would kind of
Oh
like
yeah.
they wouldn't be able to use as much of the house if they did use the elevator. It would have to be a little weird, so they kind of had to
Hmm.
use the stairs.
They'd have to take out like the first floor,
Yeah.
which is a good amount of the basement-ish
Hmm.
theme.
If you want to see some of like the horror part of it, and there's like I think the owner did a video. It's like a 15-minute video. You search up Evil Intentions on YouTube, you'll find a ton of stuff with like tours and talking about the creepy stuff and the backstory and the
Yeah.
paranormal activity that will go on there. And I have to say, one of the rooms that was mentioned was the dummy room, like with the
And
strobes.
I
Yeah,
felt something in that room.
yeah. I was
Not
gonna
gonna lie.
say, because like the ceiling was low, and that kind of
It
made it a little
felt
weird.
creepy.
I don't know, and they've said they've had multiple characters quit from that area,
I know there was the
and
one they said like the chainsaw guy who was working there for a
yeah.
while. He ended up
Oh,
quitting.
there was that one scene, um, that what like seemed like we were outside, but we were on a third floor, and there was no way because they put wood chips on the ground to make it
Hmm.
like seem like you were outside. It was crazy. It was amazing.
Yeah. And with this review, I know we're kind of going all over the place. We're not really
Mhm.
going in order of the rooms, but that's just because there's so much detail.
I don't remember a lot of the scare actors, or not the scare actors, the animatronics.
None.
There were none, but it didn't need
But
any.
they didn't need them.
No, it was so good. They didn't need
Like, they
any
didn't even need
animatronic.
it. Honestly, they might have ruined the whole aspect of it.
Yeah, if they put animatronics in there, it'd be a little. They did
Because,
have like
like,
some spark machines, but they
yeah,
didn't
but
have
no
animatronics.
animatronics.
Hmm.
Um, Spark Machines is about the extent of the extra scares. I mean, they had a compressed air blast at the end that we avoided
Yeah.
somehow.
If you step on the little plate, so don't step on that if you don't want to have compressed air in your ears.
Yeah, thank goodness. Um, but yeah, after you exit the haunt, like Casey said, you walk down some stairs, and they have a nice little hallway where they're advertising their ghost tours, which they do in the off season.
Yes, I would love to go to one of those.
Yeah, and if you thought the house wasn't creepy enough, then do a ghost tour. I mean, maybe we'll do
Yeah.
one.
Maybe behind the scenes footage.
25 cajillion likes, we'll do one.
Yep.
But yeah, after you exit the haunt, you get spit out right back in the front of the building where it's all lit up, and thus ends your experience.
Yes. So I think this will basically conclude this review. Except we need to do scare factor and overall score. And for scare factor, for me, it is a 9 out of 10.
Same, that's my exact score, was a 9 out of 10. It is a scary, intense, in-your-face
Yes.
haunted house.
And then for overall score, it's a 10. 10 out of 10. My favorite haunted house ever.
Overall, for me, I would say, is a 9.5, and that's just because it felt short. I mean, if
Yeah.
we're not taking length or whatever into account, 10 out of 10 easily for what I've been through. The only improvement is really just it felt short, even though it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I guess that's just what you get when it's in your face the entire time. No complaints for me.
Yeah. So I think that will conclude our review. Definitely check out Evil Intentions. If there's one house that you can do this one.
It's so
Absolutely
good.
do it.
It is so good.
It is amazing.
And
All
we
right.
will be back next year.
Yes. And
will.
we'll see you in our next video.